So, Vince, we have made it to the bottom of the ballot, and so now we're at the district council. So, can you really explain the difference between an at-large and a district council person?
Absolutely. A district council person in the city of Philadelphia represents a section of the city. So think of the city as 10 separate areas, right? And there is one council person for every area of the city. And then the at-large member is someone that represents anyone in the entire city. So if you live in, say, the 3rd district, there is a council person specifically in the 3rd district that you can call and get your constituent services questions answered or get your complaints. But if you don't like that person in the 3rd district, you have 7 at-large members that you can call, and you can also report your problem and your issues, and they are supposed to work as well. So at-large members are supposed to look at things from a global, regional perspective in the city. District council persons are really supposed to look at their district council area. Most district council areas are split to about 150,000 people each. This is 1.5 million Philadelphians divided by 10. Each council district is about 150,000 people.
Okay. Now, there seems to be, I listen to the word on the street, and people seem to think that the district council people actually are more powerful than the at-large. Can you shed some light on that and why they would think that way, or is it true? Is it not true?
It is true. District council people have a lot more power than an at-large member, and one of it is because it's a thing called councilmatic privilege. So a good example, if you live in the 3rd councilmatic district and you want to build a building in the 3rd councilmatic district, let's say you're a developer. In order for that development project to happen in the 3rd district, the district council person has to approve it and then introduce the legislation on the council. Council members have this unwritten rule that they support each other. So they allow the district council person in that area to control all things with development and zoning. So district council people control a lot of money and a lot of areas, a lot more than an at-large council member, because an at-large council member could say, hey, I think we should do something in your council district, Councilman Johnson, and Councilman Johnson could say, well, I don't have to listen to you at-large because you're not in my legislative district. So district council people have a lot more influence and power on a day-to-day basis on issues in their district than an at-large member.
So let me see if we can unpack this a little bit more. So say someone is a district council member and someone comes, whether it's a developer or somebody wants to build a school or whatever, and so they need approval for them, or do all building projects have to go through a district council person?
Not all building projects have to go through a council person, but darn near every major one has to, because legislation has to be approved and introduced in council, and normally if a district council person doesn't introduce it, it doesn't even see the light of day in the council. So let's give a great example. Let's say Vincent Thompson wants to build a high-rise hotel in the 5th councilmatic district, which is generally Center City. In order to get the zoning clearances and everything else, it helps if I have the support of the district council person. If the district council person introduces the legislation, then there is a great likelihood that that legislation is going to be approved by the majority of city council. If a council person, a district council person, decides to hold off on introduction of that, my project could be in limbo for months and months, and in some cases years to come. So district council people are super important in the way that the city council is created in Philadelphia.
Right. And there are also committees, right? So there's like the education committee, and there are a lot of other committees. What role do those committees play in how the city is governed?
When a bill is introduced in city council, it goes to a committee, and that committee holds hearings on the bill. So normally there's probably about 10 to 12 different committees in Philadelphia City Council. There's committees as diverse as education, which deals with education-related bills. You have the Appropriations Committee, which deals with all money and issues of the budget. And also you have other committees as well. So if a bill goes to a committee, that committee has to have a hearing. Now, you have some pieces of legislation that get stuck in committee, just like they do in Congress, just like they do in the U.S. House and the U.S. Senate, and they could stay stuck in committee forever, which means they'll never see the light of day. But if you have the support, say, of the committee chairperson on a piece of legislation, that piece of legislation could come out of committee, then it would have a first reading on the floor of City Council 1 week, and then it would have a second reading and final passage the second week. So some bills get stuck in committee, and they never see the light of day ever in City Council. But then you have some bills which have a fast track, which are introduced in the floor of Council, they have committee support, they get out of committee, they have a first reading and a second reading, and then they get out. But the average bill, even if it has a fast track, will take it at least a month to 2 months to get out. So there are some bills that have been introduced since 2015 that are still in committee right now, and it's 2019.
Oh, yeah. I've just recently started watching the council hearings on YouTube, and it's really fascinating to see the process. And can you talk a little bit about the council role in general in making laws and the budget for the city?
Sure, absolutely. Every year, the mayor, whoever that mayor is, has to introduce a proposed fiscal year budget for the city of Philadelphia. They're usually, this year, they are debating fiscal year 2020, because the fiscal year starts on July 1st of 2019, and it ends on June 30th, 2020. That's why it's called fiscal year 2020. And the city budget is usually about $5 billion. And a budget is just like your budget at home, right? It determines what's important, what's not important, what issues we're talking about, what issues we as a city government or as the mayor thinks is important to fund. Now, council goes through that budget with a fine-tooth comb, and they can determine what departments get more money, some departments may get less money, and some things that the mayor wanted may get switched around. So let's say the mayor wanted $20 million for street sweeping, right? And council decided they only want to give $8 million for street sweeping. The mayor and city council might agree to only give $10 million for street sweeping. That other $10 million could go to another department. So it's always important to see what's happening with the budget, because it's just like anything else. A budget is a sense of priorities for the city and for that mayor. So there's negotiations all the way up to the time that it gets approved. Normally a city budget in Philadelphia gets approved before council goes on summer recess in mid-June.
Okay, wow. So I think that a lot of people don't understand the power that city council has as a total body. And correct me if I'm wrong. I pride myself on having read at least half of the city charter.
You might be better than some people.
It's a hard read, though, I have to tell you. It was tough. And one of the things that jumps out at me is that city council can override the mayor on certain bills if the majority of them vote together. Is that true, or am I misinterpreting that language, or how's that work?
No, you're absolutely true. The city charter is Philadelphia's city constitution, for lack of a better term, right? It's the operating document of the city. Now, think of the mayor this way. The mayor is the CEO of a $5 billion corporation, right? That's city government. That's the operating budget of the city. Now, obviously, a CEO has a board of directors that they have to report to. Under the charter, the council would be that board of directors. So they have to approve the budget and bills that come in front of city council. Now, a mayor can introduce a bill. Let's use an example. I'm Mayor John Johnson, and I want to have a bill that would make Tuesday a day that I give everybody $50 in the city of Philadelphia. Now they would have a hearing on that bill. It could either get stuck in committee, or it could come up for a final passage in city council. Let's say city council approves that bill. Well, the mayor would sign the bill into law and everybody would be happy, right? Now, let's say the mayor introduces that bill, right? Yeah. And it gets approved by council. But then a bunch of council members say, you know what, I don't like that bill. I think we should make it $60, $70 every Tuesday. Well, they could bring the bill back to city council and it could override a vote of the mayor, or if the mayor would veto a bill, council can override a mayoral veto. And I tell people all the time, the Philadelphia City Council, there are 3 critical numbers that everybody should know: 9, 12, and 17.
Okay.
You need 9 votes to pass a bill. You need 12 votes to override a mayoral veto, and there's 17 members of city council. So any smart council member will tell you they never try to pass a bill unless they know they have 9 votes. If they know it's going to be a controversial bill, they always try to get 12 votes.
Oh, interesting. Well, you're just a fount of information. I'm so grateful that I've had an opportunity to learn so much from you. And I want to let everyone know that they can go to myfamilyvotes.com, and there you can actually download a sample ballot based on your city council district, and we even have a video that shows you how to look that up if you're unsure. So now we're going to move to the next item on the ballot, which is the ballot questions.